Richard Nixon lost the election simply because he was not prepared for the one debate that would define the vote, refusing to wear makeup and being too weak from recent injury to keep his cool.
I have no comment.
I said, do you want any makeup? He said no, because he was afraid the story the next morning would be he wore makeup, Kennedy didn't.
Nixon was only 4 years older than Kennedy, but it looked like 20.
That election turned on makeup.
But to truly understand how Nixon lost the debate, you need to consider the nature of high-profile debates in general, television aside. Stanford University's Shanto Iyengar has a powerful summarization. When we asked him through email, Iyengar replied with one sentence to condense his vast amounts of books on the subject. Debates, have very little impact other than reinforcing the view of partisans. But having a partisan argument is pointless because voters see it every day in the newspaper or have one themselves. Granted, they're different issues, but with the same ideals, it's the same battle every time, and people will stick with their parties.
What does that mean?
This means that people won't listen to the same disagreements they've heard so much already. They will partly tune out and keep an eye out for something shocking, visual or sound. Stuff like Ford's Poland blunder or Al Gore's constant sign, to in this case, Nixon's lack of visual appeal to the audience.
And imposing upon the farmers controls on acreage even far more than they have today. I think this is the wrong direction.
Granted that the visual representation of each candidate made a big impression on the viewer, could this image truly affect their opinion of each candidate? Wouldn't the enlightened American care more about the issues rather than a couple of visual flaws? To find out, James N. Druckmann conducted a study called The Power of Television Images, the first Kennedy-Nixon debate revisited. In his 2003 study, subjects watched a TV version or listened to a radio version of the debate and were asked who won. He makes sure most of the subjects do not have prior knowledge of the debate. Once again, people assigned to the TV version thought Kennedy won and radio listeners thought otherwise. This very controlled test undermines the optimistic argument that some hold, saying that radio listeners of 1960 were mainly people in the suburbs, Protestants, who would favor Nixon anyways. Harvey Wheeler, an expert on the subject, summarizes this point really well. TV debates allow people to make a personal connection with the candidate, so to win, you need to seem personable. And Nixon, with recent injury and fatigue, could not pull it off without makeup. I mean, really, would you buy a car from this man?
Now, should a presidential debate turn on makeup? No, but this one did. And they all say to me, well, you know, Kimo Matsu was certainly more important than the makeup. And I always say, all right, wise guy, where about Kimo Matsu? And who ever heard of him since that night? And who could care less and know you're wrong? The makeup was more important. That election turned on makeup.